Welcome to Lesson 4. Today we're going to explore intervention mapping, a systematic approach to designing health interventions. Specifically, we'll focus on the first step, creating a logic model of the problem. This might sound technical, but it's actually about something very practical. Before we can design a solution, we need to deeply understand the problem, not just what the problem is, but why it exists. What are the mechanisms that produce it? Who needs to do what differently for the problem to change? By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to accomplish three objectives. First, differentiate between logic models of the problem and logic models of the program. These are different tools with different purposes, and confusing them leads to poor intervention design. Second, identify the behavioral and environmental determinants of health problems. This is about understanding the specific factors that cause or maintain the problem. And third, articulate performance objectives for target populations. These are the specific behaviors that need to change for the health outcome to improve. Let's get started. Intervention mapping is a 6-step protocol for designing theory-based interventions. It was developed because too many health programs were being created without systematic thinking about why they should work. The approach emphasizes rigorous application of theory and evidence at every step. It creates explicit connections from needs assessment to program design to implementation to evaluation. Each decision is documented and justified. Now, the full intervention mapping protocol is comprehensive, some would say exhaustive. Today we're focusing on step 1, the logic model of the problem. This foundational step determines everything that follows. Here's a distinction that trips up many planners. There are two types of logic models, and they serve different purposes. A logic model of the problem explains why the health issue exists, what causes it, what maintains it, what are the mechanisms. A logic model of the program explains how your intervention will work. What will you do? What changes do you expect? How do activities lead to outcomes? The critical insight is this: start with the problem, not the solution. Too often, we jump straight to program design without deeply understanding the problem. We design interventions based on what we like to do, or what we've done before, or what's trendy. But if the intervention doesn't match the actual mechanisms of the problem, it won't work. Let me walk you through the components of a logic model of the problem. At the far right is the health problem, the outcome you ultimately want to change: rates of heart disease, childhood obesity, whatever it is. Moving left, we have behavioral factors. What are people doing or not doing that contributes to this problem? Not exercising, not taking medication, eating certain foods. Also moving left, we have environmental factors, the conditions that shape behavior, lack of safe places to exercise, food deserts, workplace policies, and further left, we have determinants, the reasons why people behave as they do, lack of knowledge, cultural beliefs, lack of access, social norms. The logic model shows how these connect, how determinants lead to behaviors, how behaviors occur within environments, and how all of this produces health outcomes. Let's talk about identifying behavioral factors. Start by asking, who is at risk for this health problem? Then, what specific behaviors contribute to the problem? And importantly, which of these behaviors are most important and most changeable? We need to prioritize because we can't address everything. Here's a crucial point. Be specific. Don't write "eat healthy" as a behavioral factor. That's too vague to be useful. Instead, write "consume 5 servings of vegetables daily," or replace sugary beverages with water. Specific behaviors can be measured. They can be targeted with specific intervention strategies. Vague behaviors lead to vague interventions that don't work. Now let's consider environmental factors. These operate at multiple levels. The physical environment includes availability and accessibility. Are healthy options available? Can people physically access them? The social environment includes norms, culture, social support, and modeling. What do others around us do? What's considered normal or desirable? The organizational environment includes policies, procedures, and structures. Does the workplace allow breaks for physical activity? Does the school serve healthy food? And the community and societal level includes laws, economic conditions, and broader systems. What are the economic incentives? What policies shape behavior? Remember, behavior doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens within these environmental contexts. The next layer is understanding determinants. The why behind the behavior. Why do people engage in these behaviors, or why don't they? Determinants include knowledge and awareness. Do people know what they should do? Do they understand the risks, attitudes, beliefs, and values? What do people think about the behavior? Does it align with their values, self-efficacy, and skills? Do people believe they can perform the behavior? Do they have the necessary skills, social influence, and norms? What do important others think? What's the social pressure and access and opportunity? Even with motivation, do people have the chance to act? Each determinant suggests different intervention strategies. If the issue is knowledge, education might help. If it's access, environmental change is needed. Once we understand the behavioral and environmental factors, we write performance objectives. These are specific statements of what people need to do for the health problem to improve. Performance objectives are written for each at-risk group and also for environmental agents, the people who control environmental factors. The format is simple. The target group will take a specific action. For example, adults with prediabetes will engage in 150 minutes of moderate physical activity per week. Or, school food service directors will implement nutrition standards for all meals. These objectives must be measurable and observable. If you can't measure it, you can't evaluate whether your intervention achieved it. Here's where it all comes together. The logic model of the problem reveals your intervention targets. It shows you exactly what needs to change for the health outcome to improve. Each determinant suggests intervention strategies. If knowledge is a barrier, use educational approaches. If self-efficacy is low, provide skills training and mastery experiences. If access is the issue, environmental change is needed. If social norms are the problem, work on normative change. The key is matching your strategies to the actual causes of behavior. This is how theory-based intervention works. You're not just doing what feels right or what you've done before. You're systematically addressing the mechanisms that produce the problem. Let's summarize our key takeaways. Logic models of the problem explain why health issues exist. They reveal the mechanisms we need to address. Both behavioral and environmental factors contribute to health problems, and both need to be considered in our interventions. Determinants explain the reasons behind behaviors, and each determinant suggests different intervention strategies. Performance objectives specify exactly what needs to change. They're the measurable targets for our programs, and fundamentally, problem analysis must precede program design. We can't design effective solutions if we don't understand the problem. In our next and final lesson of this week, we'll explore agile team chartering, how to set up teams for effective collaboration. Thank you for your engagement.